Dear learners, Dear learners, welcome you all in another session of the course Systematics of Angiosperm. Earlier, we have learned about the morphology of root, stem and leaf. That are the vegetative parts of the plant. These are the vegetative organs. And today, we will learn about the reproductive organ, in which first we will start with the inflorescence, because flower is a reproductive part which is generally arranged in the form of an inflorescence in a stem. So first of all, today we are going to learn about the inflorescence. Then next we will learn about the flower and its parts. So starting from the inflorescence. So first of all, what is an inflorescence? Inflorescence is a axis where flower is arranged that on the particular stem axis. So inflorescence is a stem axis in which flower are arranged in groups in generally, and there are many types of inflorescence because there is a arrangement of flower in on stem axis is variable. They may be arranged sometime in different ways. So depending upon that, there are different types of inflorescence, and each type of inflorescence is generally determined by how the flowers are arranged on this particular stem axis. And for many plants, inflorescence is act as a identification tool. So now let's explore the different types of inflorescence. So if we see the different parts of inflorescence, they have a peduncle. At the base you can see this is the peduncle, which is the central axis on which flowers are produced. So this is the axis. Then pedicel. Pedicel is the stalk of a single flower. Depending upon if pedicel is present, then the flower is pedicellate, and if the flower don't have a pedicel, then the flower is called as sessile. Then bract. This is a reduced leaf at the base of the flower. When bract is present, then the flower is called as bracteate. If bract is absent, then flower is called as ebracteate. Then receptacle, that is the flat disc like structure on which flower parts are arranged, that is also called as thalamus. So these are the parts of the inflorescence. So now there is a different types of inflorescence according to how flowers are arranged on the stem axis. So these are of generally main three types, that is the racemose, cymose. Then in some cases there is a special of mixed type, and then there is a special type of inflorescence. So these are the main three types, racemose, cymose and special type. When there is a mixing of inflorescence, that is called as mixed. So racemose has a further many categories of inflorescence like raceme, panicle, corymb, spike, spikelet, catkin, spadix, umbel, capitulum or head or capitate, which we will discuss one by one. Then cymose has further uniparous, biparous, polycasial or cymose head. Then in mixed type there is a thyrsus, mixed spadix or scorpigenous cyme umbel or cymose corymb. Then mixed panicle or special type is Scythium, verticillastra and hypothedium. So now first starting from the racemose. As here mentioned that the racemose are a indefinite, they have a indefinite growth in the racemose type of inflorescence because the tip of the stem axis is free. In this particular, the inflorescence axis continue to grow and give off flowers. So there is a growth is indeterminate. After the producing a flower, the growth of the stem axis will not stop. And the older flower are arranged at the base and the younger flower are arranged at the apex of this stem axis. And the examples, as we have seen earlier, that the racemose examples like spike, raceme, corymb, umbel and head. So starting from the in racemose, racemose has a further two categories, either it is of a simple type or maybe compound type. In simple type only there is a one axis of inflorescence, and in compound there is a many axis and division of the compound axis of the inflorescence. Like in simple type there is a raceme, corymb, umbel, capitulum, spike, spadix, catkin and strobile, while compound has a panicle, compound corymb, compound umbel, compound capitulum, compound spike and compound spadix. So starting from the first one, that is the raceme. Raceme is the inflorescence with the flower single on a pedicel. As you can see, the older flower at the base and the younger flower at the apex position. As you can see, these flowers are arranged alternately and they have a pedicellate flowers. So in raceme, the pedicellate flower arranged in a way that older flowers are at the base and the younger flowers are at the top. And the most common example of raceme is mustard. As besides this, the another examples of raceme is foxglove or snapdragon. So as you can see in these particular images, the older flower are present at the base and the younger flower are producing at the apex. As you can see, these are the bud stage. So raceme has the pedicellate flower in which older are at the base and the younger one at the apex. Similarly, the next category of the racemose inflorescence is corymb. Corymb is also made up of floret whose stalk and pedicel are arranged at the random stalk, as you can see, in a way that the florets create a flat or round structure at the top. As you can see, these stalk are in corymb, the pedicel length of the flower is variable. So due to this, the oldest flower, that is present at the base, has the longest stalk, while the youngest flower has a smallest pedicel. Due to this, there is a arrangement of flat like structure at the from the upper side. This type of inflorescence is called as corymb, and the example of this like in yarrow case. The next one is the umbel. Umbel is also similar to corymb, but all the other branches pedicels arise from the same point. As you can see here, all the flowers are arising from the same point. So you can see here all the pedicellate flower arising from this particular point and creating a shape at the above like a umbel shape structure. The example of this kind of inflorescence is dill or coriandrum. They have a umbel inflorescence. That's why they belong to the family Umbelliferae. Now this name of the family is become Apiaceae. So Umbelliferae has a umbel kind of inflorescence. Then the next one is the head. Head is a type of a racemose in which a dense cluster of sessile or maybe nearly sessile flowers are arranged on a very short axis on a flat receptacle. As you can see here, this is the flat receptacle axis in which flowers are arranged. Here, these flowers are generally sessile in nature or they may have a very short axis. So, sunflower is an example of also a head. Here you can see generally they have a two type of flower. The outer one is termed as the ray floret and the center flower is called as the disc floret. So, this is the ray floret which has a zygomorphic symmetry, and in center there is a presence of a disc floret which is also called as tubular flower. They have a actinomorphic symmetry, and the clover is also an example of a head type of inflorescence. So in head you can see here they have a flat receptacle in which flowers are arranged. Now moving towards the next, that is the spike in racemose inflorescence. A spike is an inflorescence in which the many sessile flowers are arranged on the axis. As you can see, the older flower are present at the base and the younger flower at the apex, but these flowers don't have any pedicel. These are the sessile flowers which are arranged on a axis of the stem, as you can see here. And the example of this type of plant of inflorescence is gladiolus, or as you can see in case of Achiranthus aspera. So here you can see this is the gladiolus, in which you can see the sessile flowers are present at the base and these are the older ones, and the younger flower which are sessile are positioned at the apex. So this one is the spike type of inflorescence which is present in gladiolus. Now if we moving towards the next type of inflorescence, that is the spikelet. Spikelet is the basic unit of inflorescence in the grass family, that is in the presence in the Gramineae family. The spikelet is subtended by sterile bracts that is known as glume. As you can see here, these are the spike of spikelet. You can see there is a number of spikelet inflorescence is present, and if we see a single spikelet, that you will find there is a pair of a glume which has a floret, and each floret has a further lemma and plia bract. So here gloom define the spikelet. At the base of the spikelet there is a presence of a gloom. That's why the series of this particular families are called as Glumaceae. So they and everything about the makeup the at the base of the this particular spikelet is presence of a gloom bract that is showing that subtended by the floret structure. So here this is the spikelet, which is the one of the characteristic feature of the Graminaceae family, Graminae or Poaceae family. Now moving towards the next type of inflorescence, that is spadix. Spadix is fleshy spike which carries numerous minute flowers, as you can see. This one is the fleshy spike which has a numerous flowers which is embedded on its surface, and this is the spathe which is covering this bract. So, and this is the colorful spathe. And the example of this type of inflorescence is anthurium, as you can see in this particular image. So, here you will see the very small flower that is embedded in this particular surface of this spike, and these are the spathes. So, these are the spadix type of inflorescence which is have a covering that is called as spathe, and in this it is a very colorful. The next one is the catkin. Catkin is a elongated inflorescence of unisexual flower on a woody plant. As you can see here, number of flowers are arranged, and the example of this type of is birch. So these inflorescence generally they have a unisexual flowers on the woody plant, as you can see, and they all have a unisexual flowers. Then besides this, as we have seen, these are the different types of racemose inflorescence. Besides this, these all we have discussed earlier, these are the simple type of racemose. Then there is also existence of a compound racemose inflorescence, in which inflorescence axis is present in stem is branched. So the first example of this is panicle, in which axis is branched and produce on lateral branches, like in case of gulmohar, or compound corymb, in which peduncle is branched and each branch bear a single corymb, like inflorescence, like example in case of ixora. Then in case of compound umbel, the shortened primary axis is with flower sun, then the branches is that has a branches in case of coriander. Then compound spadix, in which more than one spadix inflorescence enclosed in a bract, that is the compound spadix. Then in case of compound head, peduncle is branched and the several capitula in the same involucre. So in each case there is a number of inflorescence in a group present, that's why it is called as the compound one. Like if you see the panicle, here you can see it is a branch axis, and you can say each branches has a raceme type of a inflorescence. So this one is the branch in which older flower at the base and the younger flower is present at the apex, and each branch here has a single raceme type of inflorescence. So here rachis is branch, that's why it is called as the panicle, which is present in the wild oat or downy brome. So these are the examples of the compound type of inflorescence in which we have discussed panicle. And if we summarize the racemose type of inflorescence, like raceme is and if we summarize all the racemose type of inflorescence, these all are the simple type and these are the compound. In simple type, raceme is a pedicellate flower in which older are present at the base, and spike is just similar but the flowers are sessile. And in corymb, the axis of the pedicel of the flower stalk is different, that's why the older flower has the larger stalk and younger flower has the lowest stalk, that's why they are creating a flat structure, that way it is called as corymb. And similarly, if the corymb has a divided axis and each axis has a single corymb, that is called as compound corymb. Then here you can see it is a umbel in which all the flowers are arising from a single point, that is called as the round umbel. If the surface is flat, then it is called as flat umbel. So a simple umbel also has a two types, either round or flat, and if the axis of the inflorescence is further divided and each bear a umbel, then it is called as compound umbel as we can see here. And in the capitulum, there is a flat receptacle which bears the flower. As you can see, this one is the older flower, and towards the end there is a younger flower is present. So from the both side, if we see, there is a older flower at the periphery and younger flower at the center, and at the this receptacle is called as capitulum or head. Then thyrus is a mixing of the flower. There is a no definite, so it is a mixing of a inflorescence type. This is called as the thyrus. And the panicle is the branched raceme. As we can see, it has a branches. This is the older flower and this one is the younger flower at the apex. So this is the all type of a raceme, most inflorescence. Now next type of inflorescence, that is the cymose inflorescence. In the cyme group, the top floweret open first and the blooms downward along the peduncle. So as it is statement said that the flower at the older flower are present at the terminal position and that open first, while the younger flower at the present at the lateral position. So a flower cluster in which the central flowers open first and the lateral flowers are open later, and that means the older flower is present at the top or terminal position. That's why, because the flower is present at the terminal position of the stem axis, due to this the growth of the stem is become definite. The growth, when the flower is produced, then the growth of the stem is stopped. That's why this type of inflorescence is called as determinate type of inflorescence, because due to the presence of the flower, the growth of the stem is now stopped. So if we see the different types of cymose inflorescence, as I have told you, this is also called as the determinate type, because this type of flower is present at the tip of the axis. Because of that, the axis terminates into a flower, and that's why the growth of the axis is stopped. So the lateral branches bears flowers in which, so the branches may bear a single flower. In this case of uniparous, they may bear two branches, that is called as biparous, or may have a multiple branches in case of multiparous. So uniparous is further categorized into two, scorpioid and helicoid, then dichasial one and the multiparous. So I am going to discuss these inflorescences by one. So starting from the uniparous, that is the monocasial cyme, in which main axis is divided into flower only on one lateral branches with flowers. As you can see, it is further categorized into two types, either helicoid or scorpioid. As you can see, this one is the helicoid. This one is the main axis which bears the oldest flower which first bloom. Then this is the second branch, first branch, lateral branch. This one is the second flower. Then on the same side it is branches off. So it giving a shape of a helical structure. This is forming a helicoid structure. That's why it is termed as the helicoid monocasial cyme. In this, branching is only one lateral side, as it is produced helicoid structure. So always there is a branching and the same side forming a helix. That's why it is called as helicoid. While in the second case, the branching is on the zigzag manner, alternate side. That's why it is producing a zigzag structure, as you can see here. Or it is also called as scorpioid, because if you see, the flowers are arranged in a scorpioid manner. So in the helicoid, the branching on the same side, while in the scorpioid case, the branching is on the alternate side from the each flower. So this one is the first flower, this one is the second, this one is the third, this one is the fourth, and this one is the youngest flower, as you can see in this particular image. And the examples of helicoid inflorescence is Hamelia, while the scorpioid inflorescence example is Heliotropium, as you can see in these images. Now moving towards the next type of cymose inflorescence, that is biparous or dichasial cyme. As you can see from the name, this one is the matured flower and it is divided on the both side of the its axis. This one is the main axis and it is a two younger flowers. Then each, this one is the first, second, and second further has a third two lateral flowers. So all one is divided into two lateral branches, that may create a two younger flowers, and that is called as biparous or dichasial cyme. Then the third one is the multiparous or polychasial. As you can see here, the first one is further categorized into there is a older flower at the tip axis and number of later flower buds around the umbel, as you can see, like in case of Ixora or Calotropis. So these are the types of cymose inflorescence: uniparous, biparous and multiparous, depending upon the lateral flowers, number of lateral flowers which are producing. In juniperus, as we have seen, there is only one lateral flower. In biparous, there is a production of two lateral branches. In the multiparous, there is a more than two lateral branches which are producing, or there is a lateral flowers which are more than two. So the examples of this is the Calotropis or Ixora. Now moving towards the third type, that is the special type of inflorescence. A special type of inflorescence, as I have told you, the first example is the Scythium. In this case, the receptacle terminates into a single female flower. As you can see, this is the single female flower, and which is consist of a tricarpellary syncarpous gynoecium which has a superior ovary and that have a numerous male flower that surrounds this female flowers. So, and this whole structure is covered with the involucre bract. As you can see, this is the involucre bract, and here one side you will find a nectary. This one is the nectary, and this is the single flower, single female flower which is surrounded by number of male flowers. So this whole inflorescence has only many unisexual flower in which female flower only one and number of male flowers is surrounded this female flowers, and each female flower has only a tricarpellary syncarpous superior ovary with axile presentation. As you can see, then the style here is also divided, and then the stamen, the male flower is represented by only a single stamen. So there are number of, as you can see, this is the female flower, and here you will find a number of male flower are present surrounding this female flower, and this whole structure is covered by a involucre bract, and this type of inflorescence is present in the Scythium and is present in the genus Euphorbia. The next is the Hypanthium or Hypanthodium type of inflorescence, in which all three closely places, you can see there is the next special type of inflorescence is Hypanthodium. In this case, three closely placed rachis used. The next special type of inflorescence is Hypanthodium. In this case, three closely placed rachis fuse to form a cup-like structure. As you can see, a cup-like structure is formed by the fusion of three rachis, and due to this it has a very small opening, and due to the fusion of three receptacle or rachis, it has a different types of flower in which there is a male, female and sterile flower is present. As you can see, these are the inner surface of the flower. Due to the fusion of this particular flower, the flower are present at the inner surface of the receptacle. So this receptacle is formed by the fusion of three rachis, and it has a flower inside it, and here female flower, many sterile flower as well as male flower arranged in a row on this inner receptacle, and the example of this type of inflorescence is ficus. So these inflorescences are arranged all over on the inner surface of the receptacle, and as I have told you, this type of inflorescence is present in case of ficus species. Now you can clearly visualize, this is the inner receptacle. Here you will find the female flowers, as you can see here. Here you will find male flower and at their sterile flowers, and here you will find the male flowers. So there is a three receptacle, and you will find there is a small opening present at the apex of this particular receptacle that is present in the ficus plant, which is commonly called as banyan. Then the third type of special type of inflorescence is verticillastra, which is one of the characteristic of the family Lamiaceae. This is a condensed type of a cymose inflorescence. As you can see here, this one is the stem axis, and around this stem axis, both sides there is a presence of a condensed type of a diacaseal cyme. As you can see, this one is the mid older flower, and then it has a lateral branches, as you can see. As you can see, here is the condensed, this is the stem, and this one is the one condensed cymose inflorescence, and this is one the. So around the stem axis, both sides there is the presence of a condensed type of a cymose inflorescence that is present here, and whole axis is called as the inflorescence axis is called as the verticillaster, that is present in the ocimum plant, and this is the family Lamiaceae, and it is one of the characteristic of the family Lamiaceae. So these are the some special type of inflorescence. Beside this, many times flowers are produced solitary. They may be at the terminal position or maybe on the axillary position. So when the flower are produces alone, they are not present in a group, then it is called as the solitary flowers. As you can see here, the saucer Magnolia, which has only single flower. So this type of flower are called as solitary. The solitary flower may be are of terminal in position, that may produced on the solitary flower may be produced on the terminal position, then it is called as solitary terminal, and if they are present on the axillary side, then it is called as solitary axillary. But in the case of solitary flower, the flower only produced as a single on the single stem axis. So as example, you can see there is a saucer Magnolia, or another examples like in case of hibiscus, there is also presence of solitary flower, or in case of tulip, they have also terminal solitary flowers. So these are the different types of inflorescence that we have discussed today, starting from the racemose, which has a. So we have discussed today different types of inflorescence, starting from the racemose that has a indefinite growth, and in which the older flower is arranged at the base while the younger flower arranged at the apex, in comparison to cymose, which has a determinate type of growth, because at the tip of the axis there is a mature flower is present, and they have a branching that creating the different type of cymose inflorescence. Then we have studied some special type of inflorescence like Cythium, Verticillaster, or Hypanthodium. Then maybe flower are born singly on a axis, then it is called as solitary. So that's all for today. Next we will learn about the flower and its parts, because flower and its parts are the very important, because they are serving as the reproductive organs for the plants. So that's all for today. Thank you for joining this session. Thank you all.